Oh boy, it's your boys, the Fike Club. Welcome, friends, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Richie Fike, and I am a 40-something father of a teenage genius. A little man that we like to call Justice Fike. Spell my name right.
Hi, how you doing?
Why is it that so many people spell your name wrong?
Well, for one, there's a store named Justice that sells things.
What is the full name of that store?
I don't know.
It's Justice for Girls. Which, if I were you, and I had a business card, and I was starting the first day of my freshman year of high school, I would have a picture of myself named, and it would say Justice for Girls. And I'd be like, I want to let you guys know, let you ladies know, I'm available. I'm open for business. What do you think?
No.
That's not smooth?
Cheesy.
That might be smooth, man. You walk up to a girl you think is cute, and you're like, I know you heard of me. Justice for Girls.
No.
No?
No.
All right, well, I tried.
You tried.
Welcome back to the mics. We're excited to be doing another episode. This week, we...
2 in a row.
Yeah, Justice, you crossed a pretty major finish line this week.
I did. I finished school. My 8th grade and middle school career done.
8th grade is over. Middle school is over. Do you feel like a freshman in high school?
I don't.
I don't feel like the father of a freshman. I really don't.
You don't?
No.
And that's weird.
I think it's because I also have a 3-year-old that it's hard for me to think of, like, it's just such a strange dichotomy, for me.
Ooh, that's a fancy word.
Dichotomy?
I like that.
Well, welcome to 9th grade.
What does that mean?
It means that 2 things are happening at once.
Ooh, fancy.
Wow. My favorite word right now is bifurcated.
My favorite, I try and get it into everything I can.
What is it?
All-encompassing.
All-encompassing, yeah, that's...
I've said it 3-4 times on the podcast. I got it into one of my finals.
Yeah?
And I was so proud of myself.
Well, how did you use it? Let's hear.
So, I was writing a paper about, these 3 books for English class. And I was saying, these books' characters are all-encompassing.
Wow.
And that made me happy.
You the best! Another one.
You good?
I got a little cough.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I've had a little cold this week. So, anyway, man, you're done with 8th grade, on to 9th grade, and really, man, you don't really get much of a break because you start football
Wednesday
this week.
It's no joke. Luckily, this week's just showing us the basics. Then next week we get to get tossed around.
What did you love about 8th grade?
There was many things. Definitely strengthening bonds with people, and then also realizing maybe these parts, maybe hanging around these people isn't the best. And it was my first actual sense of social orientation of where we have to learn, okay, this is the people I want to be with, this is the people I don't want to be with.
Yeah.
It was very different from 7th grade. Not academically. It felt very similar, just on a higher level.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that a little bit, especially when at the beginning of the year I was in Algebra 1.
Wow.
It was just it felt really work, and I'm excited that I can hopefully get a better work ethic with football.
Well, so you said that you had to learn this year who you wanted to spend your time with and who you didn't. What was your filter? How did you decide, okay, this is the kind of person I want to hang out with, and this is the kind of person I don't? How did you decide that? Or what's your filter?
Definitely, for me, this year there was people who their influence was an obvious bad influence on people. You could see it from a mile away. This is not a good person to be around. And those types of people, you gotta be wary of them. But especially since we're in such a small class of 40, 50 people right now.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with those people.
Right.
I prefer not to be around them as often.
What's your reputation at the school? Like, what do you think people think about you?
I don't know. I've never thought of that. I've honestly, for this past 3.5 weeks, have been focused on let's get to work. So yeah. I have not
let's get back to work.
You're teasing it too much.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, the last 3.5 weeks you have worked really, really hard. And I think, what did you end up with, like all A's and B's but 1 C?
Yeah. And that was in my only high school credit class. So
man.
That sucks, because that goes on the transcript. But
oh, man. First transcript is a C?
Yeah. It's a bad way to start. But
it's like that scene on Tommy Boy where he goes up to the like school to see what his grades are, and he scrolls down and he sees his name. It says Tommy Callahan, D-, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I passed!" And then he's like, he's celebrating because he passed college. But anyway, all right, man. Well, let's get to it, bro. We saw a movie last week that we're going to review today, and I've been telling you that I have thoughts on this movie, but I haven't really told you my thoughts.
You haven't, and it's been annoying.
Yeah,
that's what you've done for the past week.
Yeah,
I have thoughts. Haven't told me anything.
Let's save it for the pod. Here's what's funny about our relationship now is some things I will say to you, I will say, I definitely want to know what you think, but let's save it for the pod.
And it's just annoying.
Isn't that a funny thing?
And it's only when we actually get in the swing of it.
Yeah.
Like if we saw that movie mid-December, you would have told me everything.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%. All right, well, so without further ado, let's get into it, our movie of the week.
The movie of the week.
See the movies. Old stuff and the newbies. See the movies. Fike Club at the movies. See the movies. Don't sleep on the Goonies. See the movies. Old stuff and the newbies.
The movie of the week.
All right, buddy. The movie of the week this week is Detective Pikachu, a Pokemon classic. Right?
No.
What do you mean no?
The game came out in 2016, so it can't be a classic.
Well, the movie is a Pokemon classic. It's already it's a legendary movie, one of the greatest movies that's ever been made.
You're really hyping this up now.
Don't you think?
No.
I mean, I thought it was absolutely one of the... I mean, that's how it was presented to me. This is going to be one of the greatest summer blockbusters in the history of moviedom. That's the way it was presented. Did I misread that?
Yeah, I think you mistook the Infinity War and Endgame scripts.
Are you saying that it's possible that my expectations could have been too high for this film?
Maybe.
Wow, okay. So, the movie is Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Pikachu!
That was an embarrassment.
Okay, let me hear your Pikachu.
Pika. Pikachu.
Well, that's... I wish that this were a video podcast so that you could see the disdain that just oozed off of my son's face as he looked at me and said, Pikachu. The disdain and the disgust that came off of your face just now as you corrected me was otherworldly. It was all-encompassing. Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, Justice, why don't you tell us a bit about the movie? Because, very often for our movies of the week, the ultimate genesis of this podcast was that we would watch new movies and old movies, right? And that specifically for the old movies that I love, that I loved growing up, that when you saw them, either that movie would make a connection with you or not, right? And very often we've watched movies where you just go, I don't get it. This isn't funny. I don't like it that much. I can't believe that you think this is a good movie, right?
No, I've liked all the movies that you've shown.
No, there's been a
This
few.
far.
There's been a few where you've been like, "Are you serious?" Like you were not into Nutty Professor at all.
That's true.
Right? Is that you or me?
That's me.
Who's calling you at 11 o'clock?
It's an Amber Alert.
An Amber Alert? Why didn't I get it?
You don't matter.
What's going on in the world?
I don't know. I cleared it.
Okay.
That was live. My bad.
Real time, people. Real time.
Real time. Somebody's kid got kidnapped.
So, but anyway, very often the concept of this podcast was that we would watch movies, both young and old, movies that I liked from growing up, old, and movies that you're interested in, young. But what's fascinating is so many of the movies that you and I end up going to are movies where we have very common interest. So like an Avengers or Creed or, some movies like that, or like Hobbs and Shaw this summer. Mm-hmm. You and I are both going, dude, that's going to be rad. I'm excited about that movie. This was a movie where I would never have ever for any reason been interested in going to see this movie. The Pokemon experience totally missed me. I never caught the bug for Pokemon.
Because you were around 20 when it came out.
I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why, but this just was never a thing for me. And so, anyway, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on the movie before I share mine. So tell us a little bit about, what were your expectations going into this movie, and how did the movie meet up with what you thought might happen?
I was thinking it would be fun, lighthearted, and Ryan Reynolds would carry it to an average movie. But, something that like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is in that? I would love to go see that again, sort of thing. And it was funny in that aspect. But I was really surprised by the main lead, who was the main character, Tim. I was not expecting him to, the acting to be really good for that.
And that character was played by a young man named Justice, spell my name wrong, Smith.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. But I like him. He's cool.
Yeah, he is cool. He was hilarious in Jurassic Park.
Yes.
When he was screaming because of the dinosaurs, he was very funny in that movie. He's a good actor. I mean, for a young guy, I believed him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think he did a really good job. Other than those two, there wasn't any remarkable name in that.
Yeah. But
still, those supporting characters were able to leave an impact where you're like, man, that was some decent acting.
Yeah. Yeah, the acting wasn't bad. Tell me about the plot and, what you expected and,
what it's about.
Well, not just what it's about, but when you hear that there's going to be a Pokemon live action movie, right, where you have animated characters interacting with human beings, and it's centered around Detective Pikachu, who's a little yellow. What is he, by the way?
He's a Pikachu.
Okay, right, but okay, yeah, I guess so. I mean, they're really just kind of like fuzzy little alien monster.
So, in their universe, there's no, mouses, those types of things.
There's mouses?
Mouses.
Mice? The plural for moose is moosin'.
Look,
I got
I'm
a boxing of donuts.
I am so sorry, Miss Banks. My grammar is not on top point.
There are no mice, you say?
Yeah, there's no, actual animals. It's all Pokemon.
Wait, you're telling me that people don't have dogs as pets in the Pokemon universe?
No, it's just Pokemon.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. So, what about horses?
It's all Pokemon.
Caterpillars.
Pokemon. They have a Pokemon for all of that.
Okay, my grade just went down on this movie, but that's fine. All right, so there's no animals in the world. Sorry, Mom. She would die. I guess she could have a Pokemon as a...
Yeah, Pokemon are the replacement.
Now,
they can talk.
Here are some things I didn't know about Pokemon. Number one, I didn't know that there were like an unlimited amount of like species of Pokemon. And are there multiple Pikachus, or is there only one Pikachu?
So there's...
Or is Pikachu the name of that little yellow dude? And there are multiple of his species, but only he is... Like, there are multiple humans, and there's only one named Justice Fike. Are there multiple little yellow ball things that can fart out electronic energy? Like, are there multiple of those things, but this one happens to be named Pikachu? I don't know this.
Okay, I'm about to go deep dive on
Educate
this.
yourself.
You better shut your mouth and just enjoy this.
Don't shut your mouth, but I'm with you. Keep going.
Okay, my bad. So there's 12 different types of Pokemon.
Only 12.
There's 12 different types, but out of each type, there are like hundreds of different Pokemon.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
So there's like a lightning Pokemon.
Okay.
And like, let's say you're looking for a lightning Pokemon, there would be a Pikachu. That's a species.
What if I wasn't looking for one?
I don't know. There's a ghost type.
Because for the record, I'm not.
There's a ghost type.
And is it true?
There's a dark type.
Is it true that every human in the Pokemon universe is expected to partner up with a Pokemon?
They're expected to be with Pokemon.
And you don't really have a choice.
I mean, it's like having a dog or cat. You're going to see a dog or cat once in your life.
So when everybody had that little Pokemon app, and they were all like walking in the streets with their cell phones getting hit by trucks.
Mm-hmm. Pokemon Go?
Yeah, Pokemon Go. They were only looking for 12 Pokemon?
No. There's 12 types of Pokemon.
Do you hear the condescension? I just want my friends who are listening, do you hear the condescension? If you listen close, you can hear a dark tone of condescension from a 14-year-old. Keep going. I'm listening.
I can't take you seriously.
A dark, deep tone of passive-aggressive condescension. Go ahead. Tell me more. I'd love to hear all about it.
So there's 12 different types.
Oh.
But from that type, there are Pokemon. They are creatures.
Now he's getting louder.
So a Pokemon is a creature. Say it with me now. Creature.
Do you ever have that feeling when someone's teaching you about something and you've decided, I don't care and I don't want to know this? I know that I don't want to know this. Have you ever had that? That is the exact.
That's how I feel about algebra.
That is the exact emotion I'm having right now. Keep going, I'm listening.
No, you're not. And these Pokemon,
sure,
they can evolve into other Pokemon.
Oh no.
So like a Pikachu can become another Pokemon.
He's talking with his hands now. Very, very broad gestures. Big gestures.
So there's Pokemon.
I'm scared.
They evolve. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
Does anyone know the number for the suicide hotline?
I do, actually.
Okay.
Our teachers gave us a suicide hotline number.
Okay. Can I call it?
Yeah, I have it downstairs. So there's these Pokemon. They evolve into other Pokemon.
Why do you keep saying Pokemon?
I'm trying to emphasize words for you since you keep losing your attention.
Why can't you just say Pokemon?
Pokemon.
There you go.
These Pokemon evolve into other Pokemon.
Oh no!
And these
so now,
Pokemon can be two different types. So you can have a grass and a ground type to create another Pokemon.
So what was the duck's name?
The duck? What duck?
I just wish you could see his face when he said it. The duck? The one that would say, is it like Ryback? What's his name?
Psyduck?
Yeah, he's a duck.
Yeah, it's a duck.
And so his name is Psyduck. Was he evolved or is he one of the 12? You said that there were 12 types?
There's 12 types of Pokemon, and that's a branch.
Louder now.
That's
Keep
a
going.
branch of Pokemon.
Right.
So you can have that branch of Pokemon, and there's 100 different types of Pokemon.
So the total number of types of Pokemon is 100.
Let's just move on.
No, I'm asking you because I'm trying to figure it out.
No, you're
Here's what I want to know. Is there a limitless
amount of Pokemon?
amount of species of Pokemon?
Yes. Right now, there's around 800.
That's not limitless. Do you understand what limitless
Yes,
means?
but when they create a new game, there's more Pokemon.
So they'll keep creating new Pokemon.
Yeah.
How do they have sexual relationships with one another?
Convenience.
I don't know what you mean when you say convenience.
They just create new Pokemon. I don't want to get into how a Pokemon is made.
You've never wondered?
No.
You're telling me that you've never sat in your bed late at night and wondered, how does another Pokemon become a Pokemon? Like,
No, because I know how it happens and I don't want to know more about how a Pokemon does it with another Pokemon.
Like, for example, if you mix a Bulldog and a Shih Tzu, you get...
The saddest thing is I said that joke to a teacher.
Right. So I'm just trying to figure out if I put a Psyback, what was it?
Psyduck.
A Psyduck with a Pikachu, what happens?
It creates a new species.
And that's what's gone wrong in the world, is all these Pokemons are going outside of their own species, and now they've overpopulated Rhyme City. And that is the plot.
And now Thanos needs to snap.
And we need a detective to figure the whole thing out. And that's the basic plot of Detective Pikachu. Am I right about that?
You're completely wrong, but you've tried.
Side note, I fell asleep about 7 minutes into the movie and woke up with about 11 minutes left. So my perspective on this movie is highly tainted. But I will say, this is the one, I don't know how deep you want to get into the review of the movie. I actually really
I just want to argue with you.
I actually really do want to hear, like, where the movie met up or didn't meet up with your expectations. That's in a minute. But you know what the movie reminded me of? I wondered if you had the same experience in Ready Player One that I was having in this movie. Because, like, when...
no, because Ready Player One had a increasing plot.
Well, this movie didn't have a plot?
It had a plot, but it wasn't the increasing plot that Ready Player One
Here's
had.
what I mean. The amount of Easter eggs in Ready Player One that were built for really, honestly, 40-something-year-olds who grew up with Back to the Future and E.T. and Batman and all the little kind of random RoboCop, all the kind of rando stuff that they put in that movie that when I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. And when you saw it, it probably meant nothing to you. It went right over your head because you had no frame of reference. And as Justice Smith gets onto the train and there's like 300 random alien monsters on a train with him, and you know the name of each one of those little deals because you know what those Pokemon...
I don't know all of them, but I know some.
Because some of them cross species out here. They're filthy out here in these streets. But I'm saying, the most of them, like when the mime character came on, you knew exactly who he was as soon as he came on the screen, right?
Yeah.
I didn't. Right? And so I'm like learning all this stuff as I go. And so I was just wondering if I had the same experience in Pokemon that you had in Ready Player One. Those are my thoughts on the movie.
That's your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah. That and I don't think I care.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to explain it to you, but I was interrupted rudely around 50 times.
More condescension. Just want everyone to hear it.
You don't have to go close to the mic like this.
That's my signal that I need help. I'm asking the people to help me.
Okay.
And so tell me, because this is your world, and you really were excited about the movie.
I thought, because I just like Ryan Reynolds, and I thought it would be funny.
You know who what one big question I had in watching it, who's this movie for? Like, what age of people were they targeting with this movie? Do you know? Like, it wasn't super kid. Like, I wouldn't see a 5 or 6 year old going to this movie.
I would.
And I don't think it's
Just 'cause it's
teenagery.
Pokemon.
Is it teenagery?
No.
I mean, you're a teenager. Did it feel like it was built towards you?
It was 5 to 10, and then literally anyone who's ever seen anything about Pokemon was like, "Oh, Ryan Reynolds, okay."
It's almost like marks for Pokemon, like that are like in their 20s or 30s that are like super Pokemon Go. They might go to the movie and have a good time because they know who all those characters are.
Yeah, I mean, no, not really. It was more built for like, if you've ever played Pokemon, which pretty much everyone that was born 1996 and above and had a Nintendo, then they played it. So it was more like, hey, do you want to remember something from your childhood with Pikachu?
Okay. All right, so talk. What were your expectations and did it meet up?
My expectations was it to be a funny little thing that I wouldn't end up caring about maybe like even 3 months later. It was pretty much that. It was fun. If you have like a kid that is into Pokemon, great to go see.
Wait, I thought it was Pokemon.
I was trying to emphasize for you.
Oh, okay. So I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable?
I'm done with you.
Okay. Okay, keep going. Never touch me. Keep going.
Never touch me.
Help.
It'll be okay.
Keep going.
Where was I? I was somewhere about how super fun. If you have a kid, go see it. But the story, you probably won't know anything, and that's fine, as long as your kid enjoys it. Luckily, our 3-year-old didn't, so.
Yeah, that was a bad decision. Dana told me Saturday morning, hey, what if we bring Judah to the movie? And I said, me and Justice are going to watch this movie for the pod, and I'm not going to be able to help you police the baby. And so she said, that's fine, I got it. And then Judah lasted about
30 minutes.
I think he lasted longer than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He lasted longer than I did. I fell asleep before he kind of lost his cool. And then he just started talking to the movie and be like, hey, Pikachu! Pika! We're like, hey, boy. And so she had to take him out. But anyway, whatever.
And then afterwards, she was like, guys, I think he's going to be ready for Toy Story. I'm like, no, he's not.
He's ready for her to take him to Toy Story.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I'm not going to see that with him.
No.
But as I was saying, great movie for children if they care. If not, don't take them. If you remember anything about Pokemon, if you know anything about Pokemon, it'll be a fun nostalgia thing. But other than that, it was just a cute little movie, and that's it.
Question: is Pokemon cool? Like if you're in 8th, 9th grade. Are you cool if you're into Pokemon?
No.
If you're into it.
No.
That's not cool.
If you were 8, it's cool.
Yeah.
But like at 13, it's like
Not cool. Like you're bordering on nerd.
Nerd.
But what about like superhero movies like Avengers?
That's fine.
If you're into it though. Not if you like casually saw it, but you're into it.
I mean, me and Jacob are into it, and we're not that. I'm a sports nerd, so.
Yeah. It's funny how that word has changed. Okay. Well, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about the movie. Do you have things you wanted to say about it?
No.
Yeah.
Other than it was extremely good acting, and those guys should definitely get hired for future movies.
Justice Smith and Robert Downey Jr.?
It's not Robert Downey Jr.
What was his name?
Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds, sorry. Yeah, Ryan
I don't know how you don't know that.
I just forgot for a moment. Yeah, I will say that because I've seen the Deadpool movies.
It was really weird to think of.
Hearing a little yellow, fuzzy monster ball with lightning farts voiced by Deadpool.
By Deadpool.
I was like, I had a really hard time,
I was waiting for a fourth wall to break.
Yeah, I had a really hard time, being present and being connected to it.
Because you were just like, this is...
I was like, this is too many levels of nerdery beyond me, and I just can't engage it. And it was so broad and so specific and so like, it was such a universe. It was such a world that they built, and I was just like, no thanks. No thanks. I think it'd be cool to have a Pokemon though.
Yeah, I think it would be cool.
Not the little, but the thing is, do they all just say their name?
Yeah, that's all they can say.
That's all they say is their name.
Yeah.
So if I just went around all day and went, Fike! Like, how you doing today, man?
Fike!
Fike.
Fike.
What'd you have for lunch? Fike. Okay, cool. Good talk. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not a human, so...
But aren't they evolved? Aren't they smarter than humans?
No.
Do they communicate with each other?
Yes.
They just go, Fike, 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 Fike. And the other guy's like, yeah, Fike, 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 Fike.
Yep.
Okay, see? There's just a lot of reasons for me to be out.
Look, this is branded for children. There's not supposed to be this much deep thought about a Pokemon movie.
I think that's part of the issue. I think that's part of the issue. I think when you really dig into the mythology or the ethos of this Pokemon world, there's a lot of holes in it, and you have to suspend a lot of disbelief in order to enter into it, and that's just not my bag. I like for things to make rational sense. You know, that's every issue that I had with Endgame.
Was this is not rational.
This is not making rational sense, and I need it to. So it's just the way my brain works. So, okay, without further ado, I'll give you my grade on Pikachu. A+. Loved it. Thought it was incredible. Best movie I've seen all year. How about you, buddy?
C-.
Wow. See? We tricked you. All right.
You saw 7 minutes of the movie.
Best 7 minutes I've seen in a movie all year.
You should have said A+ just for the nap.
I will tell you, that was a really good nap. These theaters these
Was
days...
that a top 3 almost as good as Masters nap?
That you can't come close to the Masters. When Jim Nance starts whispering to you, Tiger on the third hole, and Tiger's
It's over.
He's looking at the putt. He's watching it. I'm like, I'm out. So, anyway. Great movie, A+. You say C-. That's our review. We'd love to hear what you thought about Pokemon Detective Pikachu. To hear from you. If maybe I'm crazy and maybe I just don't get it. Tell me about what I don't understand. At the Fike Club on Twitter and Instagram. And also, you can email us at thefikeclub@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Without further ado, we'll get into one of my favorite segments of every one of our podcasts, and that is Boss Moves.
Boss moves. We need making. Boss moves. We need making. Boss moves. We need making. Boss moves. Boss moves.
That's your favorite part of that song, isn't it?
Yeah.
The brrrah. Yep. So I thought we would talk a little bit about the NBA Finals, Justice, as we head into Boss Moves. Last night, the Toronto Raptors,
Finished off.
for the first time ever, got themselves into...
Jurassic Park went crazy.
Yep, they got themselves into the NBA Finals. It's been 25 years as a franchise, and they're there. So pretty cool, man. Pretty exciting deal for them. And gosh, if Kevin Durant stays injured, then maybe just maybe
they lose in 6.
Wow. But I want to talk about a guy that I think is really a really special talent, and that is Masai Ujiri. He is the president,
President of basketball operations,
in parentheses,
general manager.
in parentheses, general manager, what we would think of as general manager of the Toronto Raptors. And gosh, this guy This guy has, as they say, gravitas. He's got cojones, if you will. He last year, when the Raptors got to, did they get to the Eastern Conference Finals last year or the semis?
No, they got to the semis and got swept by a LeBron team who got taken to 7 by a Pacers team who was seen as to lose in 4.
Right. And their best 2 players back then, last year, were DeRozan and Lowry. And their coach, what was his name?
Forgot his name, but now he's coaching the Pistons.
Dwayne Casey?
Yeah, Dwayne Casey.
Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year. And Masai Ujiri looked at their incredible regular season, their successful head coach, and instead of saying, you know what, LeBron's leaving, let's leave our team the way it is and we'll move on, he said, you know what, let's take some risks. And so the first thing he did was he let go of Dwayne Casey. He fired the Coach of the Year, which was really awkward at the NBA awards show that happened after the NBA Finals. Remember that?
Because it was just weird because he got fired.
And had he already been hired by the Pistons?
No, it was the week after.
Yeah. So, anyway, Masai Ujiri, everybody's kind of looking at him like, bro, he's the Coach of the Year. There's no shame in losing to LeBron. What are you doing? But something in his gut told him that, man, we're not going to be able to move forward with this guy. And he had the conviction to make that decision. If it doesn't work out, Masai's not going to be there very long. You know what I mean? And so that took a lot of courage. And then the second thing he did was he traded arguably his best player. I don't know if do you think Lowry is better than DeRozan, or would you think DeRozan's better than Lowry?
DeRozan is miles ahead of Lowry.
DeRozan is miles ahead of Lowry. Okay.
It was a clear DeRozan's won with that 24 points per game.
Yeah.
And then Lowry with his 18, 8 assists. It was more like 6 assists that year.
Well, and we watched DeRozan in the Spurs series this year.
It was hard to guard.
Man,
it was just insane.
The guy can get 2 points anytime he wants it.
Can't get 3, but can always get 2.
He's not a 3-point shooter, and in 2019's NBA, if you're not a consistent 3-point threat, doesn't mean you always have to make the shot, but if you're not a threat, then you really are kind of marginalized in this NBA that we're watching now. But anyway,
he would have been a top 5 player in the 90s.
For real, 100%. The guy's really good. Anyway, so Masai Ujiri traded beloved DeRozan, a guy that the Raptors franchise and fans absolutely adored, traded him for Kawhi Leonard. Now, here's the deal.
Who's now become the greatest Raptors player of all time.
Arguably.
Not arguably.
Well, he's only played for a year.
And he's done more than any other Raptors player has done in any amount of years.
Well, but he's not doing it alone. I mean,
So was everybody else. I mean, Carter had McGrady, couldn't do anything. This DeRozan team, I mean, they were the first seed for 2 years in a row, and then they still couldn't do anything. I mean, looking at it, he's the only player to hit a game winner in a game 7. He beat a Bucks team who unanimously was arguably saying, "Hey, we have a serious threat for the title."
They were the 1 seed.
They were everyone was hyping them up. Yeah. Maybe this team can beat the Warriors, and then the Raptors beat them in 6.
Yeah.
After they lost the first 2 games, going down 2-0 is big.
What I will say is, for sure, Kawhi Leonard at the end of that Sixers series made the most important or the best or the greatest, whatever hyperbole you want to use, shot in Raptors history when he hit that 3-pointer to win the game in Game 7 at the end of regulation, and it hit off the rim 4 times before it went in. Like, that was incredible. And some of the still shots of that moment where he's crouched down looking to see if his ball's going to go in, it's just spectacular. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is Masai Ujiri, general manager of the Raptors, has some serious courage. He made some hard moves. He made some really bold moves in trading DeRozan for Kawhi and firing Dwayne Casey to hire Bud. What's his name?
I don't even know. A white guy
with glasses.
Glasses.
They call him Coach Bud.
Coach Curse. Some Kurt.
Oh,
Curse.
is Coach Bud the Bucks guy?
The Bucks, yeah, because his last name's Mickenweiser, and it's some.
Mickenweiser is not his name.
It is. It's like Mickdiczer.
It's a lot of C's and Z's. Anyway, so I just want to shout out Masai Ujiri, who, by the way, his first head office job was for the Nuggets. And it all comes back to the Nuggets for me.
To the Denver Nuggets.
I really was sad when we lost him. But Masai Ujiri, same guy that pulled off that trade where we got all those great Knicks players and really kind of destroyed the Knicks from the inside out by trading them Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
You know, Masai Ujiri's a boss, and he's made some boss moves, and I'm pulling for him. This is going to be a fascinating NBA Finals because I think the Warriors play better basketball without Kevin Durant. And it's much more enjoyable to watch. You don't see as much ISO ball without Durant.
It's constant movement.
I kind of think they're less beatable without Durant. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, everyone was like, oh, Durant's out. They'll have a chance of losing. If I was the Rockets, I would have rathered if they had Durant.
Wow.
Because as soon as he got out, Curry went off for 30, went off for 25, and then Clay ended up picking it up in that second series.
Yeah.
Without Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the Raptors can stop them other than hope Kawhi Leonard can stay on Klay Thompson / Steph Curry.
So your prediction for the series is what?
Warriors in 5.
In 5, so gentleman's sweep.
Raptors just win game 1 and then get swept the rest of the way out. And then Durant comes back game 4.
I'll take the Warriors in 6. I'll take the Warriors in 6. I think the Raptors win games 1 and 5. That's my prediction.
That's a lot of confidence in Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be that or a sweep.
Honestly, it's 5-6 sweep.
It's weird. But they do have, the Raptors have home court advantage. And I will say, watching these playoffs, the Toronto fan base is, other than Drake, awesome. Drake's a little bit too much for me.
No, he's not. Him coming up to his coach and giving him a massage, that's great.
You can't be massaging your coach if you're a fan.
Yeah,
he's can. He's all up in the huddle.
Yeah, he's Drake. Let's say you're the Nuggets and you have Drake from your hometown. Are you not gonna let Drake be be on the sideline and be part of the team pretty much?
I'm happy to have Drake be on the court, like courtside seats, but I'm going to put him on the opposite side of the bench. I don't need him all up in the bench.
I think Masai Ujiri has a lot of faith in Drake to do respectful stuff.
A lot of faith in Drake.
And I think he could be a big reason why the Warriors end up losing a game in Toronto. He's going to do something, and Clay or Steph is going to not like it. And they're going to be off.
Or it could have the opposite. It could be the 2019 version of Spike Lee. Where Spike Lee was talking trash to Reggie Miller.
Yeah, and then
Reggie Miller just started nailing 3-pointers right in Spike's face and just looking right at him and mean mugging him.
And then
all of New York was mad at Spike Lee because they're like, "Hey, dude, shut up, sit down, leave Reggie Miller alone." I'm waiting for that to happen to Drake, where he starts talking trash to Steph Curry, and then Steph just goes off on him and just looks him right in the face.
It's going to happen game 2. After they win game 1, he's going to go off for 45, 46, and then he's just going to do, some Curry thing, and it's just going to be funny.
I just hope it's a series. I really do. I hope it's a series. I hope it's competitive. I hope the games are close. Because, man, the last 2 or 3 NBA finals.
Since the 2016 one.
Man, just like, it's like, I mean, it's like been inevitable that the Warriors are going to dominate. And last year, Game 1, J.R. Smith, the famed idiot move of the cinch, where he gets the rebound and should have just put a shot up, and instead
but he thought they won.
Throws the ball to half court. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, that and then after that, they didn't even come close in another game, and then LeBron left.
I feel like I'm just gonna say this: if JR made that shot, it would have been a close series.
I think so too. Isn't that crazy?
Because like, just off of what JR did, the whole team was like, "Okay, we don't have another chance. Pack up the bags, let LeBron go."
100% deflated that team. Yeah. All right, the other little piece that I wanted to cover, just because you and I love the LSU basketball franchise, and we're excited that Will Wade is back to be our coach, which is a boss move. But man, this week, so whenever Will Wade got suspended, like 7 of the players announced that they were going to the league.
That was just because they didn't want another coach.
And obviously, we knew Tremont Waters and
Nas were going.
And Nas and Big B. Williams because he was a fifth-year senior. But then you got these other guys, Emmett Taylor.
Emmett Smith?
No, Emmett Smith's a running back. Emmett Taylor. Oh, shoot. I'm dropping all their names. Javonte Smart. Mays. And one more.
Well, we'll just go with those. We're not forgetting anyone. Trust us.
Yeah. Well, anyway, those guys have all kind of said, you know what? Now that we got Will Wade back, we're coming back. And we got this 5-star, like 6'10",
greatest player out of Alabama since DeMarcus Cousins.
Powerhouse dude that's going to be on our team. And so I'm excited about LSU basketball again. Man, I really think he must be an incredible recruit.
Or is spending a lot of money.
Well, we don't need to knock on wood. We're not going to talk about that. Let's keep that private. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know how much Javonte got paid off to stay, but
we got to tap the phones out here, okay? Let's like,
hey, let's stay off the phones when you're talking money, okay, Wade?
We should just let the Pokemons do the talking. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Just Ryback. What is it?
Sign up. Ryback's a...
What if Ryback the wrestler, if his new gimmick was, he came to the ring and he was just like, Ryback! Like, what do you think is going to happen in tonight's match, Ryback? Ryback!
Ryback!
And then when he said, he's like, Ryback.
It would be great, but so bad.
Yeah. That gets us to, that was an interesting segue, but that gets us to the third piece of the puzzle for Boss Moves this week. And really, Boss Moves is kind of our journey into sports and sports entertainment. And man, you forced me last night to watch something that I'll never get those 3.5 hours back.
It was 5, but...
Yeah, I'll never get those hours back in my life.
Oh, but you loved it.
No, sir.
Yes, you did.
So...
If you go back and watch that show without complaining... and you'll just look at the wrestling, you will love that show.
See, you're already feisty about this. I just want to talk.
I went back today and I rewatched the show and I was like, this was some great wrestling. Too bad the production value.
Can we tell the people what we're talking about before you start spouting out your opinion? Okay. So we watched AEW Double or Nothing. AEW is this new rival wrestling brand that's kind of led by Cody Rhodes, who is the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. He is the son of Dusty Rhodes, and he's trying to compete with Vince McMahon, which I think is a horrible idea. But he has started a league called AEW, and they had their very first pay-per-view last night.
Which was known all throughout the internet with everyone that cared as a success. Except Daddy. Okay.
It may have been the single worst wrestling show I have ever watched in my life. The wrestling, except for the last 3 matches, the wrestling was so subpar so botchy, so spot fest, so gimmicky, so unbelievable, so amateur, that I just was like, I cannot believe how much money this pay-per-view cost to watch this. And I'm not being a contrarian, and I would love for last night to have rocked my face. When I first watched NXT, Justice, I was like...
NXT Dallas?
I was like, this is going to be stupid. And then I watched it, and I was like, holy cannoli, that's the best thing I've ever seen. NXT is the best product in wrestling.
It is.
So tell the people, because I think it's a Pokemon Pikachu situation. Tell the people what you saw last night that you loved that I can't see.
So this was a wrestling show, not the WWE thing, and that's why you hated it. And I'm totally okay with that. You are not used to that type of thing, and I agree with you. It needs to decide its identity, but the wrestling for that show was top notch, A+ wrestling. And the production value really brought it down. Even for the matches that I wasn't excited for, other than the only bad match that everyone has said has been the women's match with all the Japanese people. But everyone else has said those other matches, critically acclaimed, great matches.
You're telling me that the people critically acclaimed Awesome Kong?
No, like critically acclaimed most of the match.
Did the people critically acclaim The Best Friends?
Yes. Because of the ending.
Okay.
So, like, they're saying they were all great matches. Not A+ matches. Most of there was, like, those 4 matches on the bottom of the card were B+. Yeah. Other than the 3-way to start it. That for me was an A.
Okay, so here's the divide. Here's what they have got to figure out. We talked about this last night, right?
And I agree with you on this one.
What they have got to figure out, there's a couple ways to look at it. WWE never uses the term wrestling. They don't call themselves professional wrestlers. They call themselves sports entertainers.
Which I hate.
And they call themselves WWE superstars.
Terrible.
Which is to say that what they do on a Monday or Tuesday night is more than just what happens in the ring. In fact, the stuff that happens in the ring is kind of the window dressing to what else is happening. What people love about WWE is when The Rock or Stone Cold or even John Cena, for that matter, get on the mic and talk trash about their opponent and have little funny one-liners, Enzo and Cash, have things like sing-songy things, The New Day, hoo, like all that kind of stuff. That is sports entertainment. And then after they've, told the story of why these two people are going to fight and why it matters, then the match makes sense. Now, to be fair, WWE has done a really poor job of late of convincing us that convincing us that the fights that they put on really matter. That here and there they'll give you a match. There were 2 or 3 at WrestleMania that you go, okay, I'm excited about this match and I know why I'm excited about it.
But there should be all the matches on that card I should be excited about. It's the show for wrestling.
Well, no, it's not the show for wrestling. It's the show for sports entertainment. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But
WWE stands for World Wrestling.
I understand. Do you know how often you hear the term wrestling on a Monday Night Raw?
You don't hear it.
You don't hear it.
But that's what I'm saying. You should hear it.
Well, that's your opinion.
Because it's wrestling.
That's your opinion. I'm trying to tell you the way that they present themselves. The way WWE presents themselves is as a sports entertainment company. And what I saw last night, and so you have that. They have all the money. They have all the big athletes. They have all the eyeballs, right? WWE. And then all throughout America, there are all these little indie wrestling shows. Like in Nashville, there's a pretty major little indie wrestling show that happens every week. I think at the Gaylord or something like that. I've been invited to it every time I go to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
You should go.
There's like
it would be really.
There's
good.
like 200 people there at most, and it's in like a hotel, like not lobby but like ballroom.
It would be good.
And they
Good
set
wrestling.
up chairs all around it. No, it's not good wrestling. Anyway, so they have indie wrestling. Now, here's the thing: when you're making a television show, which WWE really excels at,
that's what they're good at.
when you're making a television show, what matters is the camera angles and the story you're telling on the screen. And you can sacrifice some of the live experience for making sure that what happens on screen looks and sounds awesome, right? When you're doing an indie show, you're not worried about the cameras at all. So you can get away with a whole lot of other kind of minor league bougie stuff that once the cameras get on you, you can't get away with it anymore. A lot of those botches we saw last night where people, swing like they're hitting you and you're like a foot away from the guy and he reflects his back like he just got hit in the jaw and then he sells it like he really got hit. You can't get away with that in WWE. You can't get away with it. And you saw at least 60% of the time in the first probably hour and a half to 2 hours, like a lot of that. A lot of botches.
A lot of production botches.
And a lot of camera angles that they didn't know what they were doing. So all I'm saying is, I hope AEW becomes something that does compete with WWE because
It will.
Because competition is good for quality. And I think WWE has become a little fat and lazy. And I think that if AEW
They've become quantity over quality.
Right. If AEW can find a way to begin to actually pull some eyeballs away from WWE, then that'll make WWE better. And that's good. That's good for business. But if they never grow from what they did last night, they won't exist for more than about a year or two. Because it's just, all you're going to get are the smart marks. That's the only people you're going to get. You know who you get at WWE? You get
Children.
moms and dads and kids. You get generational.
That's why nobody that I'm like would like to watch that.
Right. You get generational money. It's also why, like for WrestleMania, NXT is at the Pelicans facility. WrestleMania is at the Superdome. You would not sell out the Superdome for an NXT event.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't. You couldn't. You can't get that many eyeballs on it because WWE is a broader thing. It's not for the smarks. Mm-hmm. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I was impressed with Kenny Omega. I was impressed to see who used to be Dean Ambrose show up at the end of the event as Moxley.
John Moxley.
Which was that last match was sponsored by Cracker Barrel, which I thought was.
I don't know if that was planned.
I wish that I had put together a comprehensive list of all the nonsensical things that happened last night, so that we could talk about it right now. Because I just want to make fun of you about this, but I didn't do that. But the number one.
Can I get one last laugh in here?
Go for it.
First of all, that was their first show live on production.
Yeah.
Completely different staff of producers. They had the Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling producers last time.
Yeah.
Those guys are experienced in the business, have stuff. They had new producers. This was their first live televised show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can improve on, but the wrestling on the show was better than any other show WWE has put out, period, in the past year.
Including NXT?
And not including NXT, but like the WWE main product.
Better than AJ versus Seth Rollins?
Yes.
Wrong.
You're telling me you enjoyed watching AJ Seth Rollins better than, let's say, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros?
That was the best match of the night.
Yeah, and that Seth Rollins AJ Styles match was the best night of that night.
Did you go back and watch the Money in the Bank match?
No.
It was incredible. And it was better than anything from last night.
Okay.
But it was also gimmicky.
But it was also a gimmick match.
You got ladders
I
and-
mean,
yeah.
it's a gimmick match.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of greatness to see there. There's around 8, 9 guys right now that they have to keep building up, maybe 10. And if they keep building those guys up and those people on the lower card, I think they'll have a really good show. They haven't even done a live television show yet.
Right.
And they're already the second biggest brand in wrestling.
Right.
And I feel like you cannot judge a company off of first show.
Yeah.
You cannot jump, like, if you cannot judge, like, a new expansion NBA team off of their first game.
Right.
So, and then have that same thing a year later.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you give them possibly even 4 or 5 months, the production team will be at a much better value. They'll understand the television aspect, and hopefully by then they would choose sports entertainment, or let's just go with wrestling.
Yeah, and that really is
that's the thing.
That's their crossroads. They have to decide.
I see what you did there.
Do they want to be the world's foremost wrestling organization, or do they want to be the second best sports entertainment company in the world? Which is it? And I think that they have a major, like, soul level identity crisis ahead of them. Because last night what I saw was, okay, well, we really like indie wrestling. It's our heart. And we love indie wrestlers. We love them because they put their bodies on the line for $100 a night, you know? And we want to give them a stage where the world can see what kind of talent they have. We love them. Also, we have to put on a show that makes sense on television. And the people that mostly will watch this are people that are accustomed to a certain type of presentation. And so if we don't give them a little bit of what, or a lot of what they're used to, then they won't know what they're looking at and it won't make sense to them. So they just have an identity crisis in front of them, you know? And, I mean, NXT doesn't have that. NXT is like...
Because they're an established brand.
Right. NXT...
And they're the minor leagues of WWE.
That's right. But NXT decided this isn't for kids.
Yeah.
They decided that early on. We're not trying to court children for this. We're going to develop superstars here, you know?
And we're going to develop. Going to do nothing.
And that is the tragedy of NXT, is that some of our favorite NXT talent gets called up, quote unquote, called up to WWE and wasted.
Like, I'm more excited about Tyler Breeze, who, if you don't know, was a tremendous talent in NXT, and then he got called up, was done nothing with, and now he's coming back to NXT for a match against a current NXT person. And that's, I'm looking at that, I'm like, that's going to be probably one of the best matches in NXT.
Yeah, and I said that to you, but I said that to you after Kevin Owens went away for a while. Remember I said what Kevin Owens ought to do is come back to NXT and start over and, like, dominate NXT for a few years. And if he goes back up, he goes back up. But what that would do is it would say, you know what? I like NXT. I like the NXT brand. This is me. I belong here. And that would be incredible. But anyway, so, man, we talked for a long time about this. All I'm saying is the name of the pay-per-view was Double or Nothing. Mm-hmm,
and it was more nothing.
I take nothing. And I don't want double of it. I don't want double of what I saw last night. Yeah.
It was definitely a bust compared to the All-In pay-per-view. And I contribute that to the fact the All-In pay-per-view was sponsored by the 2 other major companies other than WWE at that time. New Japan Pro Wrestling, and who, great organization, truly run correctly. And then Ring of Honor, which is just insane. It hasn't been as good lately, but it's still, you know, a well-known name.
They have an identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While AEW at this point, no identity, but I have to say probably the most promising company.
Interesting. So you said the internet was trumpeting last night, saying that the wrestling was incredible. Were they also talking trash about how bad the production was?
No.
So no one on the internet was talking about how bad the production was.
From what I saw, I looked through like 50 to 100 Twitter people that like said, "Oh, this show is amazing.
Yeah,
great show."
Yeah.
And I feel like they knew the production had to get better, but they were more optimistic about it than you are.
Let me tell you something. That's bad. That's bad for them. If they don't hear from the public that the production level was awful, which it wasn't, like, I'm not exaggerating. It was the worst show I have watched of any kind of show.
On the show aspect, oh my goodness. If it was on a scale of 1 to 100, it brought it down a subtle 30. Like, it's like if you turn in an assignment late, that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's an automatic minus 30.
It's called Cup of Dirt.
Call it Cup of Dirt.
Well, what is it, Brian?
It's a cup.
It's a cup with dirt in it. I call it Cup of Dirt. Just put an F on there and move on. Anyway, so that's our review of AEW. I really would love to hear if there's any of our Fike Clubbers that are into it, that watched it, that disagree with me or disagree with Justice. We want to hear more about this. This is something we're going to be keeping our eye on because I think, genuinely, Justice, I want it to succeed. I'm just telling you that if AEW continues on the track of Double or Nothing, it won't last longer than a couple of years.
And I agree with you on that.
Okay.
I'm not like disputing that. I think you're just too negative on the show. You're not looking at the wrestling at the same level. I mean, the wrestling was fantastic.
Yeah.
If we were at the show, we would have loved it.
Maybe.
But if we were since we were at home watching it, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And it was a mistake made by first timers. And I see that, like, people, they'll probably realize, hey, this was not that good.
I think that even if we were there, I would have had trouble with the Awesome Kong thing. I still would have had trouble with some of those matches that were useless. I think we would have had fun with the big matches, but there was a lot of fluff there. And again, we talked about this last night, not to trumpet NXT so much, but on an NXT pay-per-view, which they're not pay-per-views, but, you know, the big events, the takeovers, 4 matches?
5 at most. I feel like they should really do 6 matches for your pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's their model.
And they also need to decide, and this is part of sports entertainment, they need to decide, are we going to tell stories or not? Because last night
there was one story.
Let me tell you, I just want to bring to mind this one moment that happened. And it was absolutely hysterical to me. There was a tag team match. Who was it? What was? I don't even care. You're not going to know anyway. There was a tag team match. The match was over. The winners of the match are lifting their hands in victory. The lights go out. Now in wrestling, this happens a lot. This used to happen with The Undertaker and with Sting all the time. The lights go out, and then the lights come back on, and then all of a sudden there's people who have arrived in the ring. You don't know how they got there. It's because they were under the ring the whole time, and when the lights went out, they came under the ring and got into the ring. And then the lights come back on. Oh my gosh, who's that in the center of the ring? But usually when they say who's that in the center of the ring, they know the answer to the question. And I'm not kidding you. The announcer, the lights went out, and then the lights came back on, and there was 2 guys in the ring. One of them had a mask, and one of them didn't. Nobody knew who they were. No one in the crowd knew who they were. And the announcers even said, do you know who that is? Like Jim Ross said to one of the other guys, I don't have the foggiest idea who that is. And then the lights went out, and they were gone, and no one even today on the earth knows who those people were or what they were doing there.
Well, I mean, like, I've heard who they are, but I forgot.
But the people who are running the show don't know what is happening on the show.
And then a little bit later, Jim Ross was like, I don't know where we are on this script.
Yeah, they came to a shot where they were showing Jim Ross, and he was like, I really don't know what's happening next, so... And then there was like 5 seconds of dead silence. And then the other guy goes, Let's talk about Cody Rhodes. Oh, my soul. It was a hot mess at Double or Nothing last night.
It was a mess, but it was a great wrestling match.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you're excited about it, and I think it's cool that you're emotionally invested in it.
But
That's
I'm buying
cool.
the next pay-per-view.
With your money. That's right. All right, so man, dude, we're deep into this podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Let's get to one of the things we love to do on our podcast is to do the Stroup Award. Haven't done it in a while. Have to do it. The Stroup Award, the genesis of this award was from a lady named Kathy Stroup, who was, and is she still your all-time favorite teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, all-time favorite teacher, best teacher Justice has ever had. Kathy Stroup, and so we decided that we would name an award after her and give it away each podcast. It's called the Stroup Award, and we'd love to do it.
Stroup, baby, Stroup, baby, Stroup. This award is called the Stroup, baby, Stroup. This is Stroup. This award is called the Stroup.
All right, buddy. So it's been a long school year. We haven't done a Stroup Award since the Super Bowl, but we talked about this before we started to record. And the question that I wanted to ask you is: number one, what one or two big lessons do you feel like you learned in 8th grade? We talked about that in the open. Who you're going to hang out with, who you're going to connect with, how you make those decisions. But is there something else? Is there something you feel like that this school year has really taught you about life?
Definitely. Not all teachers are created equal. That's a definite big thing.
Okay.
Because, beforehand, I've loved all my teachers, and this year there was a definite lean on favorites, and there was a definite lean on, oh my goodness, can this lady please get off my back?
No names.
It is a lady, but no names. So
A lot of your teachers listen to this podcast. You know that, right?
no, they don't. Just Miss Drew, probably.
Okay.
But yes, and also, yeah, what I said earlier about you got to pick the right friend group and stay out of drama.
Save the drama for you.
Mama?
That's right. Okay, so if we are going to give a Stroup Award away to the person who has taught you the most, who would that person be in this 8th grade school year?
Person who's taught me the most or best teacher?
However you want to frame it, yeah.
Person who taught me the most was Coach Nav. Or actually, no, Miss Rogers. But my favorite teacher from this year was Coach Harrison, because I gave him an Infinity Gauntlet that was $30, and if he wasn't my favorite teacher, that would definitely be a waste of money.
What was it about him that you love so much?
He was very down to earth. He would constantly give us dad jokes. Like, he would pull up a website called dadjokes.com. And he would just like, hey, wait, everyone wait, this is going to be good. And then he would say the joke, and it would just be crickets. It would be like, all right, come on.
What subject did he teach you?
Robotics.
Robotics. Okay.
But half the period we were just playing games, and he was okay with that. So.
I think that's probably why you like him so much.
Yeah.
So, what did you learn from him, though?
Learn from him. Offensive line techniques.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah. I liked him more because he was the coach, and then he was a really cool guy and chill. And he was okay with us calling him Thanos.
Does he look like Thanos?
Well, he's bald, and he constantly wears purple shirts.
Why?
I don't know. He liked the Thanos name, and I got him a gauntlet.
Did you ever try calling him Grimace?
No.
Do you know who Grimace is?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody told me it was either Jack. I think it was Jack who taught me about Grimace.
Jack Grimes?
Yeah.
All right. Shout out.
Shout out to Jack. He knows the conversation. So, yeah.
So Coach Harrison is the official recipient of your 8th grade Stroup Award.
Yeah.
Give it up for Coach Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, what a man amongst boys. A man amongst legends.
He's 6'8", 280.
Whoa. He told you how much he weighs?
No, that's like, I'm just guessing.
Was he an offensive lineman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played D2.
Oh, he did? Where?
St. Luke's? No.
St. Luke's, huh?
No. Somewhere in Texas.
St. Elsewhere.
St. Texas.
St. Texas. Wow. So he taught you everything but where he went to college. I understand. Is there anything you want to say to Coach Harrison?
Coach Harrison, Thanos, thank you so much for this year. Don't kill me this summer over football. And yeah.
Oh, he really is going to, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough year. This summer,
he's not getting it next year.
You've never experienced Texas two-a-days, and you're going to have that this year, aren't you?
I'm having that, like, starting July, and they're like, hey, you had a wonderful summer. This Wednesday, you're getting back to work.
Yeah, you had like a 4-day summer.
How was your summer? Oh, it was nice. Just a lot of work.
Amazing. Well, shout out to Coach Harrison and all the other great teachers at SCS. A lot of good people. Really, they have a terrific faculty at that school, and I'm really happy to send my money to them each month to invest in your education, because you are excelling, you are growing, you are developing, and I see such character growth in you just because of the way the teachers force you guys to do your own work and to fight for your own grades and to not rest on your laurels. You got a bunch of good teachers there. It's not just Coach Harrison, but it's everybody there at SCS.
Miss Rogers, Miss Johns, Coach Nav, Miss Banks, Coach Lehman, Mrs. Carr, and all the others.
That's right. You know what we haven't done, though, you and I, in a while?
I don't know.
We haven't played the question game, and I think it's time we do.
And I have a question for everybody here tonight.
Asking all these questions, why you asking all these questions? Asking all these questions, why you asking all these questions? Asking all these questions, why you ask so many questions?
Hey, let me ask you something.
I got a question.
Let the games begin.
All right, Justice, I do have some questions. I got a bunch of emails and letters and text messages and tweets from folks that have some questions for you. And so I want to ask them to you now. The first question comes from someone that we have shouted out in the past. I think we did. You got to go to the... we got to go to the Spurs Nuggets game in, was that April?
It was near my birthday, March 20th.
Yeah, you're right. It was March. It was the next day my truck got stolen. It's crazy. But anyway, we met Becky, who is the head of marketing for the San Antonio Spurs. And I texted her and asked her to give us her thoughts on some good questions for the podcast. And she gave me one that I think will certainly stump you. And so let me pull it up here from Becky. She says, with Sue Bird's injury, which I didn't know that Sue Bird got injured, but with Sue Bird's injury, the Seattle Storm don't appear to be in a good spot to repeat their championship. So the WNBA looks like it's wide open. Any predictions?
Oh, yes, I do know. So, as you know, there was a super team lately that has formed in the WNBA. I'm pretty sure it was the Las Vegas Aces, as they acquired a superstar. I'm not naming names, because naming names is really hard for a league that you are not the best at.
I think it's because you don't know anyone's name.
I don't know what you're talking about. I totally know everything. But yes, my pick right now would be either the Minnesota Twins, the LA Sparks, or the Las Vegas Aces to be able to retrieve the new title. And I have no doubts that the WNBA will be in no trouble, even though their MVP is down.
Wow, that's incredible. I would have just...
Miss Kim, bro.
There you go.
Boom.
There you go. I would have just said San Antonio, because that's what she wants to hear anyway. Right?
Is there a team in San Antonio?
Don't they have a team?
I don't know.
See, you just messed the whole thing up. You sounded so educated, and then I asked you one question, you don't know it. Why would she be asking about this if they don't have a team in San Antonio? Look it up real quick. Google it.
Okay.
All right, here's the question that I want to answer. This question comes from our friend Alan Briggs. Have you heard about preachers and sneakers, Justice?
I've heard about sneakers.
Well, there's an Instagram handle called Preachers and Sneakers, and it's all about kind of catching these Christian leaders wearing super designer clothes and very expensive shoes, and you put them on blast and basically talk trash about them. And I think it's mean, but whatever. It's the world we live in. So Alan asked the question: if you got caught and featured on Preachers and Sneakers, what shoes would you want to be wearing? And my answer to that question is real simple. My favorite pair of shoes that I own are my Jordan 3 Tinker Justin Timberlake specials. So they are white on white Air Jordan 3s, and they have the white Nike swoosh, which makes them really unique and fun. And I think I paid less than $200 for them. So it's not like they're exorbitant or whatever, but maybe you think that's a lot of money. I don't know. I save up all my credit card reward points, and I buy and I get Nike gift cards for my credit rewards. And then whenever a pair of shoes come out that I'm excited about, then I get them.
So I'm going to guess I'm not allowed to wear those.
Yeah, you're not allowed to wear any of my shoes. Because I've seen what you do to your shoes. You treat them like you're angry with them. You treat them as if they're your worst enemy.
Look, it's hard, okay? Okay, school's hard.
Okay, yeah.
School's hard.
School
those
is hard.
Jordans I have, they're perfect shape.
Because they're a size and a half too big, because Fred gave them to you, and you don't ever wear them.
I've worn them once or twice.
There you go.
And then they still look in good shape.
Yeah. Well, I want you to learn the value of keeping up with your shoes. And that's the other thing. The thing I don't understand is people who buy Jordans and don't wear them. I don't get it. Why would you spend that much money on a pair of shoes to put in your closet? I mean, I guess if you're buying it in order to resell it in 5 years because it's going to be worth something then, cool. But, I don't know why you buy a pair of shoes to not wear them. I don't get it.
It's just weird.
Yeah. So either that or my Jordan 11 Space Jam 45s. I really like those a lot too. So that's my answer. That's all I got. It has been just another terrific time with the Fike Club this week. Justice, you got any parting words before we move forward? Did you figure out if San Antonio has a team?
I did not. I fact-checked to make sure there was a Las Vegas team. And I did find out I was correct that they were the favorites. And
it's not that hard. Just team. WNBA San Antonio.
Okay, look. It's been a great podcast for all of you.
It's called the San Antonio Stars.
Okay, let me finish. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to an hour 30 of us just rambling and talking, and for no reason other than for your entertainment.
You know what though? Memorial Day, you're out cutting the yard. You know, you're out in the lawn doing work, pulling weeds. What else you want to do but laugh at a 40-something-year-old man and a teenage smart aleck?
Hey, that's the wrong word.
Well,
that was rude.
You're smart, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, smart aleck.
Hey.
Huh? What's that?
Oh, I couldn't hear you over the fact that...
Is this thing on? One last thing I want to say before we get out of here, bro. Both of my grandfathers served in World War II. Thomas Fike, who is with the Lord now, and Buford Richardson, who is still kicking in his 90s in Baton Rouge. Those two men served our country and fought for our country and fought in a war that was violent and awful, World War II. They're both naval officers, and I'm honored that my name is Thomas Richardson Fike. I'm named after both of my grandpas, and I'm proud of that. So happy Memorial Day to Pawpaw and to everyone else who served our country. We are so grateful for the safety and the freedom that you provided for us. And we will never forget what you guys did for us. Thank you very much.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. Sadly, that is the end of this week's episode.
Aww. It was so good.
So great. Hour 30 of banter.
We did it.
We did it. I thought I was going to fall asleep.
I thought you were going to get really mad at me.
I thought I was going to too. Make sure you can always find us by emailing us, thefikeclub@gmail.com, using our Instagram and Twitter @the Fike Club. And just remember, the only rule about the Fike Club is to always talk about the Fike Club.
Always talk about the Fike Club. Yeah, so we love you guys. Thanks so much. We want to hear from you. We'll see you next time. Have a great Memorial Day, and we love you guys.
Peace.